about what may enable us to make a U-turn in the right direction. Before I go any further, I want to call on somebody whose face may not be visible all the time, but many of us have the most cherished privilege of using the facility. I want to invite Mr. Thomas to come and welcome the guest of today with his short remarks. Over to you, studio. Studio? I hope he doesn't have problems unmuting himself whilst we are waiting for him to go ahead. Sure. Ẹ ṣeun àwọn alálẹ̀ wọn bá dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín. For those who probably don't understand Yoruba, and I have to use both languages, English and Yoruba. Heritage Television is a leading facility. It's available to those who want to lead by action, those who want to lead by opinion. It has no direct or indirect affiliation with any particular organization that may be utilized in the service. It has no direct affiliation with Yoruba World Congress. It has no direct affiliation to AGBA KONI NILE OODUA. It's a neutral facility for all who want to make use of it. On that note, I want to warmly welcome one of my praisers. I think he's in Spain now. He moves all over the world. Alàgbà Taiwo, Alàgbà Amòfin, probably millions more than us who are not able to do so. So, again, I warmly welcome you, and we today will bear our minds to the past. We'll open our minds, ready to listen to others. My session operates similar to what you can call a court, in that those I have invited to speak, they have been invited because they have got information that they consider of great welcome you, and it's important, therefore, that we listen. It doesn't matter what we think of what they've got to say. The important thing is what they've got to say is valid, and we should listen carefully to them. I don't want to welcome those I cannot see on the screen. At some point during the session, I may invite anyone who is in the audience. I call them Olubalejos, who are here to join me to welcome my guest speakers, and those who I believe understand that one hand cannot clap. On this note, I'm going to go straight to our dear mother, who is going to basically declare today open, because I don't consider that's appropriate for me to do so. So a very warm welcome to our mother, Her Excellency, who is always with us, Her Excellency Ambassador Dr. Olatokunbo Awolowo Dosunmu. Over to you now.
Thank you very much once again, Erelu, for the fantastic work that you're doing on behalf of the Yoruba nation. The Lord will continue to strengthen you and inspire you to greater heights. I welcome everybody to this talk shop, to this forum this morning. We're here to talk about leadership, misunderstandings, unresolved conflicts, lack of and future of Yoruba nation. And whilst I would urge all of us to be honest and forthright in our presentations, I would urge us to also exercise some restraint in our language so that we can hear ourselves and understand each other. And we can educate one another also. We need to listen carefully so that...
I invited him to what was a customary court to do exactly what he's going to be doing today. At that point in time, he was facilitating knowledge, and I believe he continues to do so. It gives me a delight to welcome a young man with lots of energy, and he's known as Adeyinka grandson, who is a leading light for what is called Yoruba Youth for Freedom. I hope I got it right. I'm younger, so please count me as one of you. Don't see me as old. Ekabo, alagbawa. Ẹnìkan sọ mi ó lóníjọ̀gbọ̀n ni yín ó ní oníjọ̀gbọ̀n kẹ̀ mo ní ìjọ ọmọ tó ń jẹ́ oníjọ̀gbọ̀n ó lẹ́ni tó like trouble mo ní ẹni tí wọ́n ń pè ní oníjọ̀gbọ̀n ni ẹni tí ó ń rí ọgbọ́n láti ṣe wàhálà. Ìjọ̀gbọ̀n ìjà ọgbọ́n ẹni tó bá fẹ́ jẹ́ trouble maker bí irú Adéyínká grandson yìí ó láti lọ́gbọ́n. Torí tí ò bá lọ́gbọ́n ọlọ́màjọ dáná sun ọ̀tá ẹ̀. Ẹ kú jọgbọ́n, ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò wa. Inú mi tí ẹ dùn lé ni pé màmá wa sí òní jẹ́ ká ẹ ṣe jọgbọ́n, wọ́n ti wà ń jókòó. Àbẹ́ẹ̀kọ́ wọ́n ní ọmọ o ẹ̀yin pẹ́ dàgbà, ọmọ o ẹ̀yin pẹ́ dàgbà, kékeré jòjò lọ́mọ bíi tèmi, ọmọ o ìyá ọmọ oníjọgbọ́n ni mí. Ìyẹn ló ṣe jẹ́ pé mi ni mo mọ oníjọgbọ́n. Mo dẹ̀ fi jọ àwọn màmá wa ní o. Màmá wa Her Excellency, torí pé Daddy Papa Awolowo àwọn oníjọ̀gbọ̀n kún ọwọ́ wọn. I recall reading somewhere àti sọ pé nítorí wèrè ìta la ṣe ní tinúlé, èmi á sọ pé torí oníjọ̀gbọ̀n ọ̀tá la ṣe ní tinúlé. Welcome. At some point I'll be calling on you to share your thoughts with us. Whilst I'm waiting for, let's have a look. I'm trying to see who else has joined us. Let's see. So far, so good. I'm still waiting for. So I think it would be best we go straight to the contribution from our dear mother. Over to you, Yeye.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody, once again. Erelu has asked me to speak on the topic of fatherhood and leadership. So the way I'm going to tackle that is we will deal with some theoretical issues, first of all, and then we'll go to specifics, because when I asked her further, she wanted to know, I think, the relationship between the political leaders and the spiritual, I call them spiritual leaders, the traditional rulers at the time, during Papa's time. So I will try to share that with you as well, as briefly as I can. Now, I will start with a quote. Can you hear me? I will start with a quote. I will start with a quote by an American writer called Clarence Kelland. And I quote, he says, "My father didn't tell me how to live. He lived and let me watch him do it." I repeat that. My father didn't tell me how to live. He lived and let me watch him do it. In other words, fathers are leaders. Not all fathers are leaders, and not all leaders are fathers, obviously, because some leaders are mothers as well. But not all fathers are leaders, and they should be, because leaders are there to inspire, to motivate. And so a father should inspire and motivate his children to succeed in life. And how does a leader do that? First of all, he has to demonstrate an awful lot of integrity, an incredible amount of integrity. In other words, his moral values, his philosophy must be so obvious to his children or to his followers that they would have no doubts about where he stood on the great moral issues. And he has to have the integrity to live out those morals. In other words, he has to be dependable. He has to mean what he says and say what he means. There has to be an incredible amount of trust in a leader in order for the followers or for his children to take him seriously and to obey, if I can use that word, whatever he says. Those are very, very important attributes of a leader. They have to be dependable, they have to be trustworthy, they have to be people of integrity. And they don't make promises that they don't keep. They must always make promises that they can keep, and keep all their promises, even if those promises have to do with discipline. In other words, if you tell a child that if you do this, I'm going to do this, you have to show them that you actually mean it, and therefore set boundaries within which they can operate. And leaders should produce other leaders. Leaders should make it a point of duty to groom other leaders. Leaders have to be very patient with their followers. A leader, whether in the home or in the public sphere, that is a tyrant would very soon find himself alone. Even in the home, a tyrant over the years becomes a persona non grata to his children and to his wife. And it becomes a terrible, terrible experience at the end of their years. A leader has to have a sense of humor. And a leader has to put the interests of their followers ahead of their own. In other words, everyone that depends on them must be confident that their interests would take paramount place in the heart of the leaders. In other words, a leader should not exploit the led. You must always, and I'm glad that this is one of the well-known tenets of the Yoruba ethos, that leaders, even in the traditional setting in the olden days, leaders were chosen on the basis of the fact that they would set aside their own personal interests in order to pursue the interests of or to pursue the common good. So those are attributes of leaders, those are theories. Now, in practice, to come back to what Erelu wanted me to talk about, she actually asked what was the relationship between Papa, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, and the traditional rulers of the time. And I will use, I will quote very profusely from the tribute that Papa gave at the, I will call it funeral, at the transition of the Oni of Ife. And in essence, what he was saying at that time was that the Oni, together with the Alake of the time, the Oni was Oba Adesoji Aderemi, and the Alake was Oba Ademola, that both of them were his pillars in government. That there was hardly any, in fact, there was nothing of importance, no policy of importance that he planned to put in place that he did not first discuss with traditional rulers. And even though they didn't always buy into those policies immediately, they would discuss honestly and with the best interests of the people at the forefront of their minds. They would discuss those issues and come to a consensus. And once that consensus was reached, he could rest assured that they would be with him every step of the way. He used several examples. Of course, he did say that the monarchs were also people, of course, as I said, who were very, very anxious to see their people progress. So he used, first of all, the local government reforms that he put in place in 1953. He used that as an example that the two monarchs that I mentioned were really at his back. They really supported him all the way. And of course, when he introduced the education and health levy, when the free education program was about to be launched, that he could not have gone through with it because there was so much opposition, because it took people a lot of time, well, a little bit of time to understand where he was going with it. But the support of the monarchs made such a difference to the success of that program. On the other hand, he also, there were some monarchs at the time that didn't support him. Certainly the Deji of Akure at that time was not his fan at all. However, when the free education program was being mooted and the education levy was announced, he summoned Chief Awolowo, who was then leader of government business. He summoned him to his palace. And maybe these days, the leader of government business would have declined or ignored that summons. But Papa said he went. He went fully expecting to be pilloried by the Kabisi. It didn't matter, but he went. But when he got there, to his surprise, what Kabiyesi wanted to know was that would his 10 shillings educate all his children, because he had many children. That's what he said. He had many, many children. Are they saying that if he paid his own 10 shillings, that would cover the costs of all those children? And Papa said yes. And it was a town hall meeting. And the DG seized the opportunity to announce to everybody in Akure that anybody that failed to pay that levy would not live in that town with them. So he got the DG on his side, on that occasion. So what I'm saying is that there was synergy. Synergy because for the political leadership and the traditional leadership, their greatest interest was the best interest of their people. And that made all the difference. Papa went on to talk about the 5 shillings minimum wage, that the KBSs were supportive of him. And for me, the clincher was that the Oni of Ife was a member of his team to several constitutional conferences. And actually, when the self-government motion was moved by Chief Enauro in 1956, the Oni was supportive. When the independence, the motion for independence was thrown out in the House of Representatives, and the members, the Action Group members and the NCNC members walked out of the House, the KBSs followed them. KBC, the Oni, KBC, Alake, they followed them out of the place. And the Oni went a step further and resigned his position as a member of the Council of Ministers. And actually, when the governor at the time re-nominated him into the Council of Ministers, the Oni voted against himself, because that was what his children wanted. And when they walked out, I'll end with this story. When they walked out and the governor, went and spoke to them and said, well, we thought you are their fathers, we thought you are reasonable. Why should you walk out with these politicians? And according to Papa, it was the Alake that replied and said, well, actually, where we come from, we're like the mother duck. When the mother duck goes out, her children go in front of her, and wherever her children go, that is where she goes. And that is what we are to our children, our political leaders, our children. And so, we do what they do. That was possible because they all had a common goal. And it brings me back to that strategic alliance that I always talk about. That in order to drive our nation towards development and success and breakthroughs, we have to have that strategic alliance back again. A strategic alliance that is designed to take care of the best interests, to ensure that there's equal opportunity for all and everyone is well taken care of. And that strategic alliance will include the political leaders, the traditional leaders, academics, the grassroots, the businessmen, and of course the politicians themselves. So we have to have that strategic alliance. Maybe it exists right now. Maybe it's just not working in the direction that we want. But the Lord will help us. I will end it there. I hope I have given Erelu what she wanted from this presentation.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Eshe Modupe Pupo. Thank you. If you've just joined us, welcome to a gathering of leading leaders of Yoruba Nation. We have a cross-section of them. Thank you, Yeye. That was exactly what I was looking for. I love people to talk about experiences because experiences are lessons in themselves. I won't hold off any further other than to say, if you're out there and you've just joined us or within your own home and contained within the Zoom studio, welcome to AGBA KONI, NILE OODUA, where we basically invite people to come along and share their thoughts. Their thoughts with us are much appreciated. And so without further ado, I want to invite our keynote speaker for today to share his thought with us, and that is Dr. Chief Amos Arugudade Kingba, a member of Yoruba World Congress. Over to you.
Mo kí gbogbo wa o.
Ẹ káàbọ̀.
Àjọṣe wa ò ní bàjẹ́.
Àṣẹ.
Ọ̀rọ̀ pé ká lè jọṣepọ̀ náà kó lọ síwájú. Ó ní mo rí pé gbogbo àwọn tí ó nífẹ̀ẹ́ Yorùbá ń ṣe. Kò dẹ̀ ń ṣe gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá ló nífẹ̀ẹ́ Yorùbá. Àwọn ẹlòmíràn ń sọ ọmọ Yorùbá, wọ́n dẹ̀ nífẹ̀ẹ́ wa torí wọ́n mọ̀ pé ọmọlúwàbí ni wa. Nǹkan tí ó wà nílẹ̀ ó ti pẹ́ àwa náà bá lọ́wọ́ àwọn bàbá àti ìyá wa ni. Ọlọ́run ò ní jẹ́ ó bàjẹ́ lọ́wọ́ wa. Gbogbo ìta ń rí tá ń gbọ́ bó ṣe bí mi ṣe dáa púpọ̀ tó ń bẹ ní ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ kò mú wa lọ́kàn balẹ̀. Ìlú tí adẹ̀jọ ń gbé Nàìjíríà tàjọ ń gbé pẹ̀lú àwọn ẹlẹ́yàmẹ̀yà míì ó ti dorí kodò tipẹ́. Gbogbo nǹkan tí a bá lọ́wọ́ àwọn bàbá àti ìyá wa láti ìgbà tá a ti gba òmìnira. Bí ọjọ́ ṣe ń lọ ní gbogbo ẹ̀ ń di òmìnira. Àwọn nǹkan títí wá dé ọdún 1966-67 tí a ní kó máa ṣọ́ wa àwọn ajagun wa tán tọwọ́ bọ ìjọba wa ní gbogbo ẹ̀ tí wá le púpọ̀ títí di bá ṣe wà nísìn. Mi ò rò pé ó yẹ kéèyàn pìtàn lọ títí torí kò sẹ́ni tí ò ṣànkàn. Àwọn tó tiẹ̀ wà ní ibodè ilẹ̀ Yorùbá tó jẹ́ pé ní ìpọ́njú náà fi sá lọ ní òkè òkun káàkiri àgbáyé. Àwọn náà mọ̀ pé kì í ṣe pé ìtàn ni wọ́n mọ̀, ìtàn tó ló lé wọn lọ. Kò sí bájò ṣe lè dùn tó kó dùn tó ilé. Nísìnyí bí àwọn àgbà ṣe ń sọ yẹn ó dàbẹ́ ni pé àjò wa dùn ju ilé wa lọ. Àwọn ọmọléèwé gbogbo ẹ̀ ti dorí kodò. Ilé ìwòsàn kò wo nǹkan kan sàn mọ́. Àwọn òṣèlú wa ti di ọ̀jẹ̀lú. Bọ́n ṣe ń jí owó ni wọ́n ń jíbò. Ilé ìgbàgbọ́ ẹlẹ́sìn ti Mùsùlùmí ti Kírísítẹ́nì àti tí abánibá ti Yorùbá Ifá ti ń pohùn dà àwọn ẹlẹ́sìn mùsùlùmí wọ́n ń fowó tọrọ àdúrà lọ́wọ́ ọlọ́run ni. Mi ò mọ báǹkì ọlọ́run tó ń fi owó yẹn sí. àwọn kìrìsìtẹ́nì ẹnu wọn ò kò private jet ló pọ̀ jù.
Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ sà, àwọn guests wa kan wá from the Caribbean, they want to really learn from you as well.
ṣé pé kí n má sọ èdè abínibí?
Àwọn tó jẹ́ abínibí tí ò ń gbọ́ Yorùbá pọ̀ rẹpẹtẹ ní ìta tó dẹ̀ jẹ́ pé ó di dandan káwọn náà kàn kọ́ ẹ̀kọ́.
tó bá all right.
Ẹ ṣé sà.
ó dẹ̀ yẹ kẹ́ ẹ ṣe kínní Yorùbá èèyàn bá ṣe ń sọ ní èdè wa kó máa jáde ní èdè tó kù torí àwọn kọ̀ǹpútà lè ṣe. What I've been trying to say is that we are in a deep mess as Yoruba people, wherever and whoever we may be. The system will run the Nigeria country that is housing us, that is hosting various ethnic groups in various numbers, is very, very dysfunctional, is very, very degenerative. It is not arguable, as far as I know, when we say Nigeria is in retrogressive evolution. We're going backwards in all the indices of human endeavor. We are going backwards in education, in our economy, in our belief systems, in our family life. Even the mass media have become purveyors of half-truths and falsehood. There is no respect for constituted authority because they don't deserve it. But the world itself is not waiting for us in every aspect of life and living. With all this, many groups are springing up to want to make it better, to want to put us in a better position. Whenever they come up within the shortest possible time, they start to develop their own internal contradictions. People started to look for office or offices. They started to look for means of livelihood, and divisions emerge. Progress is retarded. So some of us have the opinion that it is largely whatever we're going through that is negative or that are negative are largely due to the structure of the country where we live. Those of you the new emigrants, not the one during slave years, it is because Nigeria is no longer viable that you have to leave your country to go and take all sorts of jobs, most of them menial in other lands. And so we said, look, let us restructure Nigeria away from dictatorship. Let us have democracy. Let us have opportunities for men and women, boys and girls, citizens and non-citizens, so that we can tap the God-given wealth that abounds in Nigeria. That demand, that request, that pleading has fallen on deaf ears. Our political leaders have hijack power. They even say during election times that whether or not you vote for them, they will win. And they win. They do win. What they do with the power is to push us backward again. So, as far as I'm concerned, I've traversed so many organizations, Yoruba organizations, Nigeria organizations, sectional organizations, religious organizations. And I've met a lot of distinguished men and women of goodwill who, by the very difficult circumstances of life and living, some of them have fallen by the wayside. And I, for one, I have felt a lot of time tempted to say, enough is enough, take a back seat. But I know that that's not the answer. I'm not looking for material wealth, but I want to live in a country that is worth it, that takes care of me, takes care of young men and women, takes care of the elderly. So I'm in various movements. So if I try this, if it doesn't work, I try another one. There's no, the option is not to give up. I'm not sure that I want to consider myself a leader, because what Ambassador Tokunbo Awolowo described as leadership qualities, I don't think I have them. Even if I have them, it cannot work by me alone. A tree does not make a forest. But I don't think we should give up, because giving up is not an option. In any case, we are living in a very dynamic world. The current pandemic is a reminder that there is nobody who is an island. And it's also a warning to us to live the good life. Maximizing individual material wealth will never help us. Neither will minimizing them. But optimizing, not too little, not too much, will be the best one to live in a happy world. We must forsake greed, avarice, ego, possession. Public offices should be devoted to public service. And private life should be moderated by strict discipline. A life that our late father, Papa Awolowo, and his coterie displayed. There is no reason why a reasonable person should say, I want to do everything that I have power to do. You must moderate your power by living in a decent society. If you look at the world, the countries in the world, you find that these people in the Scandinavian countries are living better than everybody else, because they optimize their existence. They do not minimize it, and they do not maximize it, but they optimize. Take as much as is good for human living, for human lives, and leave the rest. But our own, one man, one woman, keep using public office, acquiring, without break. Some of them die uselessly in the process. But if we think well, we have enough for everybody. We don't have enough for our greed. You can travel throughout the world if you need to, but you don't have to leave your home country to make a contribution to humanity. All of us, I don't know about grandson, he's a young boy. Most of us on this thing, listening. Our parents, our grandparents never traveled up to 100 miles up from where they were born. They live long, they live hard, they live well. Life is hard, but you can make it better. Not by greed, not by maximizing minimum, not by maximizing maximum, but by optimizing. Optimum is good. Let's not work ourselves to death just because we want to have so many material possessions. Take time off, reflect, enjoy your life, relax. If you have public office, do it well. Let the praise go to God and your fellow human beings, including your family members. If you educate your children, they will live well. You don't have to leave so much material possession for them. Doing so is spoiling them. When you are gone, some of them even might turn out to be the opposite of what you thought you were preparing them for. You spoil them. You made them very unable to deal with the vicissitude of life and living. Train them to be disciplined, to work for self and society. I as a person, I'm okay. My family members are okay. But we are not okay when we live in a very retrogressive, evolutionary environment. We can't make our own roads ourselves. We can't make our own hospitals ourselves. We can't make our educational schools, universities ourselves. We depend on all of this. And if they are not good, we cannot be good. So our welfare depends on the welfare of society. Society should take the primary focus of our activities whilst we're on this temporary life of the world. Leave more better things than you take with you. If only we do that, if only we reflect that we are travelers in this world, maybe we should be able to moderate our demands. Maybe we should even put more effort to build a better society. That is the struggle personally that I've been for almost 45 years. Maybe beyond that. I have a happy family life because I married in the struggle for justice and progress. And I have my children in that. All the ups and downs, I put every member of my family and myself through them. They pray for me, but they are not alarmed by what I do because they know that's the way. In fact, I see them, I laugh. I say, look at these kids. They're doing well. They're doing the best they can. Life begins from the family. If the family is bad, the society will be bad. How much have our leaders, they don't have time for their children. Sometimes I see some of my young friends, Yoruba people. The wristwatch in their hand is more than 20 million naira. The wristwatch, and the boy or girl has no work. It's because his father is in public office, his mother is in public office, his uncle is in public office. The public office that is there to serve the public is now to use personal, individual family life. And when they start to reap the reward of their evil deeds, all sorts of theories are expounded. No, my prayer always that may God make it possible for every man or woman, every human being, to reap the rewards of his own deeds or her own deeds. If we work well, you reap good work. If you don't work well, that's what you reap. You reap what you sow. So I want to say other thing about doing things together. I don't think Yoruba people should have one organization to pursue justice and peace and progress. If you are in one organization and it serves the purpose for which that organization exists, go ahead and do it. And make sure it does not deviate from that objective. But if it does and you cannot help it, move to another one. If you are in a marriage that is dysfunctional, you have more problem, leave it, my friend. Take another one or stay on your own. But make sure you are going to leave the world a better place than you meet it. You didn't bring anything, none of us did. And you are not going to take anything away, my brothers and sisters. So why not leave a good name, a good legacy for yourself, for your children, grandchildren, for your friends and family, for your country, and for your world? We have enough to take care of human beings. And I think this pandemic, this corona pandemic, will enable the world to set our clocks of our needs and not our wants. Our needs, what we need, and limit it. The more we refuse to do that, the more these pandemics will come and go. Some of them may not go away. So I am not going to plead to anybody, say you must belong to one church or one mosque or one club or one organization. If you attend an organization that has aims and objectives, study it well. If they align with your own way of life, stay there, take part, participate, be positive. But if it's not, and it's going to degenerate into all sorts of negative relationships, move out, take another one. But give it a try. If it doesn't work, move off. And you don't have to create enmity. If you are a Catholic and I'm an Anglican, I can go out with you. We can be married. You can be a Muslim. You can be an animist. The bottom line is that we're human beings. We are human beings. The world does not belong to any one group, one person alone. Those who manipulate governance, whether at business levels or political levels or family levels or religion, those who manipulate governance in negative ways, they cannot hope to get the reward that is positive from God. Indeed, most of them even receive their reward before they go. The examples abound, I don't have to name them. The point is, to your own self, be true. Be honest with yourself. If you are not, you will not be honest with society. If you're honest with yourself, you know how much material possessions you need, not that you want. And once you have that need, leave the others, help others to meet their own needs. And be contented. Relax, my friend. You're not going to live in this world forever. So I plead with my fellow human beings, my fellow Yoruba people, let's be self-disciplined. Let's do unto others as we wish them to do unto us. Let's be the one, or among the ones, carrying the flag of progress, of love and kindness. Let's advance the humanity. I was saying sometime that All these world powers that have so much power, they can even wipe out humanity. And so what? Suppose they wipe out humanity. They too will not live well. In fact, they may go with us. The human being is a very, very puzzling animal. We have it within ourselves to do good, and we have it within ourselves to do bad. Good and evil has been there from Adam and Eve. Let every one of us make a choice. But the choices are started from the family, what you give to your children, even from your pregnancy, the treatment you give to your unborn baby, and the one you give from when they are born and brought up to join school, to join clubs, to be friends, to go to work, to navigate the world. If we do it well, it's a very tough job. The world will be a better place. My friend is my tribal man. My friend is my political party man. My friend is my church man. That's not enough. Let everybody be your friend. Be lenient to those who offend you. In fact, the more leniency, the more goodwill you extend to your adversaries, the more they become embarrassed. Some can even go to their room or private room and start crying. That in spite of everything negative I've done to this person, he still likes me, he still loves me, he still does good things. So what? You will reap the reward of what you do. That person will reap their own. I think I believe in karma, which is that whatever God has given you in this world to be in this world, nobody can take it unless it's within your karma. And that you yourself can administer your karma in a way that it will attract good things or bad things. As I said earlier on, somebody is drinking 6 bottles of beer in a party, and another friend comes and says, okay, have another round. And he's driving maybe 10 miles home. Are you sure that you can get home? So really, you can structure your own karma, your own existence by self-discipline. If you don't hate anybody, you waste time too much. Just say if it's irritating to you, move out of that place. Don't let him become an irritant. Go do another thing. Make your life decent. Make your family man, your friends. Let them know you. So, can I say that the way I spoke generally can be taken to indicate certain the approach to certain problems, to specific problems. I approach every problem with open mind, not empty mind. And I look at it, or look at them, from the view that this world does not belong alone to me. And so I must behave in a way that accommodates me and my fellow human beings, even my environment, physical environment. I must not destroy it to harm me or harm my fellow human beings or other things that God has created. We don't need, if we are really, really rational and serious, we don't need too many things to live. Whether it's clothing, whether it's food, whether it's shelter. We don't need too many things. We can make the world a peaceful and happy place. But friends, associates, they say, AGBA, the world is full of good and evil. I said, yes. And I said, so you cannot banish evil from the world. Only I say to myself, I will not be the agent of evil. I will be the agent of good. I will try to avoid evil, and I will try to embrace good for myself and my fellow human beings. For as long as God permits me to remain on the planet Earth, I'm not perfect, nobody is, but I'll strive daily towards perfection, to improve on yesterday, every day. I'm here with the Yoruba people to advance Yoruba interests, but not to damage other people's interests. I would defend Yoruba interests against all comers. And if we want to do things together with other people, I will be one of those to lead it. I don't hate anybody. If people hate Yoruba and they appeal to them, they don't want to listen, I'll defend Yoruba against all comers, by any means necessary. But I will not be the aggressor. I will not allow being the group in Yoruba to be aggressors. But we will defend our interests. Again, I thank the convener of this digital conference. I didn't want to come earlier. She saw my reluctance, but she persisted. Because I think we've talked a lot. We need to act more. There's too much preaching that has not affected our life in any way, whether it's in the mosque, in the church, in the political parties, in clubs. The world is regressing, not progressing. Not because there's not enough talk, but we have not attempted to have those talks realized in positive manners. First World War, Second World War, several wars after the Second World War. So, I don't know. If the good will overcome the bad, it will be good. And I don't know whether the bad is not in charge now. In many parts of the world, in governments, in organizations, in family lives. I would do my best within my own confine to be positive. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much indeed, Eshika. Thank you. Dr. Akingba, I thank you so much for yielding to my persistence. I never give up.
My pleasure.
Getting people to come. Thank you so much for the time you've given. And I'm sure a lot of people out there would have learned. Thank you for using English language, because those who are coming behind us, many are in the diaspora, from a diaspora that starts from Igbo land and to United States. And they do, in my view, they do need to hear from people like yourself. Let me go straight on to my next speaker. May I invite Adenka's grandson to take the stage? You have 15 minutes to share your thoughts with us. Over to you.
Thank you very much, madam. Can you hear me right now?
Yes, thank you. Yes.
I will crave your indulgence to please give me 20 minutes to speak.
That's fine. That's fine. You have 20 minutes. Go ahead.
Thank you, madam. This is the topic about leadership, understanding, conflict, forgiveness, resolution, unity, peace, and progress among Yoruba descendant of Oodua. Now, because of my age, as you've mentioned, as Dr. Akingba has mentioned, I think I will do something different from the two previous speakers. Now, many people do know me as Adenka's grandson. I'm a full-blooded Yoruba citizen, and we need to emphasize this. As full-blooded Yoruba citizens, we're not stubborn. We're protecting our heritage. We're protecting our homeland. We did not inherit Yoruba land from our ancestors. No, we borrowed it from our children, and we must return our land back to our children. Then I've watched and I've listened to Dr. Amos Akingba speaks now. He spoke like a typical Yoruba leader. And then the way he spoke, essentially, is saying that we should ignore things, that we are on this planet Earth just to live and then we die. How do we protect our descendants, our children? So I quite disagree with the view that he has taken, or the stand that he has taken. He talks more with a liberal mind, with people who do not want to protect their descendants. He condemns people that have, for instance, atomic weapon, nuclear weapon, and other biological weapon, like the United States of America and then Great Britain. And these people have this weapon to protect their descendants, because this planet Earth, we're competing for resources. The Yoruba nation should look at how we protect the interests of our descendants. That's our children. So if we say, like he says, that he would like to advance the interests of the Yoruba nation, but he doesn't want to stop other people's interests. But the Igbo people and the Hausa Fulani people, they want to take our land, our heritage, from our children. So how do we safeguard the interests and welfare of our children if we have liberal mind? What we do as a movement, the Young Yoruba for Freedom, is a conservative movement. We are encouraging young people who are Yoruba, particularly full-blooded Yoruba, because it has always been full-blooded Yoruba, standing firm for the greatness of the Yoruba nation, including someone like late Obafemi Awolowo. So what I'm going to be speaking about this afternoon is to sharpen our insight into how we can safeguard and protect the interests and welfare of the Yoruba nation. And I'm going to mention leadership, because Dr. Awolowo Dosunmu spoke about theoretical and specific leadership. She referred to the Yoruba natural leaders, our others, as spiritual leaders. They are actually natural leaders. And then she spoke something that is very, very important: strategic alliance. That strategic alliance is lacking in Yoruba land. But she made a mistake saying that this strategic alliance has to be with the natural leaders, our others, politicians, academics, and other people. No, it will always be with our natural leader and elected leader, which we call politicians. There's something that she spoke about, synergy with the leadership. It is the Yoruba others and the Yoruba elected leaders that will have to work in terms of strategic alliance. Nothing to do with academics, nothing to do with the people generally, because the people have already elected their representative. She made so much emphasis about one thing, which she never uttered: the Constitution of Western Nigeria. We as a movement, the Young Yoruba for Freedom, brought out this constitution in July. There is no single university in Yoruba land that has a copy of this constitution that was enacted in 1952, first amended in 1966, before the Igbo suspended this constitution and destroyed what Dr. Dosunmu specifically spoke about: leadership, which is strategic alliance. But I'm not going to disturb so many people, because I can see how Dr. Amos Akingba has presented. You see this age on his part. Unfortunately, Pa Ayo Adebanjo is not here with us. I think he's 92 plus. I will have advised him that he should not speak publicly about the interests of the Yoruba nation, because he has had his dancing days. It will be ridiculous for a 92-year-old man to be speaking publicly when people like us, in our early 40s, people under 20, people in their early 30s, should be the people speaking. People in their 50s, people in their 60s should be speaking for the Yoruba nation, not someone at that age. But he's not here with us. So I will size up what the audience of SITE stated. Dr. Amos Akingba emphasizes one thing. He said, let us restructure Nigeria away from dictatorship. This is quite different from how I've arranged what I want to say. He participated at the Jonathan National Conference, along with Pa Ayo Adebanjo, as well as Dr. Dosunmu, Awolowo Dosunmu. They were the people who represented the Yoruba at that conference. Jonathan National Conference rejected the Yoruba demand for restructuring. But Dr. Amos Akingba just made mention of it now, that will let us restructure Nigeria away from dictatorship.
Can I raise a point of order? can I recommend that you came with information about the topic? I'd very much like you to help us to understand leadership from your perspective, misunderstanding associated with that. And if at the end of this all you want to comment on what others are, because if they didn't speak before you, you would have been speaking, you should have been expressing your view. So let me hear your view. It'd be very interesting for us to know your view.
Okay, thank you very much. I actually prepared to speak about leadership in response to what the three people I've mentioned have done in the past.
Okay.
Even if I've spoken before me,
yes.
Even while you've spoken before me, it is still yes. part of what I'm prepared to say. Because okay. one thing I realized, yes. their view
yes.
is more of liberal. Our view is more of conservative. And that was okay. what I need to emphasize, which is part okay. of what I want to do.
Okay.
So let me quickly let me quickly finish that about the what I was saying about the Jonathan National. At the Jonathan National Conference, everything the Yoruba nation desire were rejected. Regionalism, a return back to parliamentary system, and decentralization of the military, decentralization of the police, a return back to the decentralization of the civil service. Every damn thing that we requested as Yoruba people were refused, completely rejected. But what was never divisive in Nigeria was adopted. Now, you see now, Dr. AGBA is representing the Yoruba World Congress that is openly now campaigning for Oodua Republic, while at the same time working with the PDP. Payo Adebanjo is saying that, and his group saying that there will not be election in 2023 where without restructuring, but they participated at the Jonathan National Conference where restructuring was rejected, and they supported this guy. Now, these same people who are now, we're having leadership problem. This same group of people, there's so many of them in Yoruba, like Yoruba Summit Group, Yoruba World Congress, the Afenifere Liberal Wing. Afenifere is two. We have the conservative wings, we have the liberal wing. The liberal wings and the rest of them, they are now saying that there won't be election. Yet they voted for Atiku Abubakar and Obi in 2019, including even the Heritage TV that you are sharing here, because these are PDP people, which I complained about you before coming. Now they want to give Buhari the benefit of the doubt to return Nigeria back to a restructured federation. But all of these people have been antagonizing one soul, Tinubu, who is their own flesh and blood. They want to condemn this guy, yet he's not the president of Nigeria. We're talking about leadership problem. For us to have leaders like Dr. Dozumu said, there are certain prerequisites that the Yoruba leaders must have. Number one is that your past antecedent must show that you think Yoruba first and foremost, understand self-preservation, and you are pro-Yoruba to the core. This is number one prerequisite to choose the leadership of Yoruba nation. Number two is that you must be able to win election across Yoruba land. The people that are speaking on behalf of Yoruba, for instance, the Yoruba World Congress had a meeting which they invited our movement in 2019, saying that they have appointed Professor Banji Akintoye as the Ashwadi of Yoruba, the leader of Yoruba. This man can't win election across Yoruba land. He cannot even win election in his own local government. But the number two prerequisite to choose leaders in Yoruba land is that such an individual must be able to win election across Yoruba land. And number three, he must be a full-blooded Yoruba citizen with both of his parents Yoruba citizens. Dr. AGBA spoke about the fact that there are some people who are not Yoruba who love Yoruba because their group is working with the Igbo. Igbo people assassinated a sitting Yoruba premier. People came to Yoruba land.
A point of order. No, can you explain what is a liberal person? People listen. For me, I have lived in the United Kingdom since 17. What is liberalism? What is liberalism? Explain liberalism to those.
Thank you very much.
Yes, please explain it.
No, thank you. Yeah. A liberal Yoruba.
You got a supporter in the background. Go ahead. Thank you.
A liberal Yoruba I'm waiting for that. A liberal Yoruba is an individual who does not think Yoruba first, who thinks about Nigeria first. A liberal Yoruba would desire for Igbo, Hausa Fulani to troop into our space in Yoruba land unregulated. A liberal Yoruba would desire for an Igbo to contest election in Yoruba land. We Yoruba people do not decide election in Igbo land. We don't participate in the election. We do not participate in the election in Hausa Fulani land. But every now and then, Igbo people and Hausa people are trooping into our space, voting, participating in election. We want to stop that. That is the attribute of a Libra. A Libra wants everybody in Yoruba land to have equal rights and privileges. No, I live in England, London to be specific. I don't have the same rights and privileges as English. My children are born in England. They don't have the same rights and privileges as English children. So the Yoruba Libra are oftentimes Afro-Yoruba citizens. Perhaps maybe their father or their mother is Igbo or Fulani. So they have problem with identity. So they want Yoruba land to be destroyed. But those of us who are conservative, we're very, very specific in our demand. As conservative Yoruba, we don't want the mass migration of Igbo and Hausa Fulani into Yoruba land. We want that to be controlled because there's a lot of crime being done. Let me give you this statistic. We did this in 2015, vehicular movement from Igbo land to Yoruba land. We found that on a daily basis, 500 vehicles travel from Igbo land to Yoruba land. And on the other hand, only 100 vehicles travel from Yoruba land to Igbo land. So we have a difference of 400. We estimated that in each of the vehicles, 50 passengers per vehicle. That is 20,000 Igbo coming into Yoruba land every day. Yoruba land is not America. It is not England. We are not as wealthy as these two nations that I've mentioned. How can we afford 20,000 Igbo to troop into our space? That is 140,000 every week, 560,000 every month, 6.7 million every year. That is the amount of Igbo that are coming. As conservative, we don't want that because we cannot afford to take care of them. We can't pay for their health. We can't pay for their education. We can't pay for their accommodation. And they are coming to constitute nuisance, creating problems, killing people, selling fake drugs. The Yoruba Libras are not concerned about that. They will even openly say to you that the Igbo can contest election in Yoruba land. We don't decide the election. So I think that gives clarity to the difference between a conservative Yoruba and a liberal Yoruba. It is the liberal Yoruba that are constituting nuisance in Yoruba land. They are the reason why there is no unity in Yoruba land. Every time they speak, so many groups, all of these liberals that are shouting Oduduwa Republic, which is audio, they will always say, we want unity in Yoruba land. But the Yoruba people that are constituting nuisance are half Yoruba citizens. Look at Pastor Tunde Bakari for an example. He was selected to the Jonathan National Conference as a delegate representing Ogun State Yoruba land. When he got to that conference, he spoke against the Yoruba agenda, saying that he comes to that conference to support the Yoruba agenda. Why was he saying that? Because his father is not Yoruba, his father is Hausa Fulani. He continued to pretend. But Lamido of Adamawa, when he spoke at that conference, he said that he came to that conference for the interest of his own people, that if there is any war in Nigeria, he has another kingdom in Cameroon that he can easily move there with. People come to that conference to support the interests of their ethnic nationality, but we have half Yoruba citizens who are representing the Yoruba nation. They have divided loyalty. So every time you continue to say there must be unity in Yoruba land, is this the same thing that the Igbo are saying? No. Is it the same thing that the Hausa Fulani are saying, shouting for unity in their own space? No. So why is it that we Yoruba are crying for unity every now and then? It is because of intermarriage. If you look at the genetic variation, this was a book written in 2018 by 3 Yoruba citizens who are lecturers in university in America. They concluded that there will never be progress in Yoruba land because of high rate of intermarriage. When Benga Daniel was governor of Ogun State, he was killing Yoruba people. Benga Daniel is not Yoruba, he's an Isoko man with a Yoruba mother. Obasanjo is not a Yoruba citizen. Obasanjo is an Igbo man. Obasanjo nationalized everything that Awolowo has built for us. Obasanjo did that. Madam Awolowo Dosunmu can attest to that. Our farm settlement was taken away by Obasanjo. He turned it into Operation Feed the Nation. When he resigned, when he left office in 1979, he turned Operation Feed the Nation to Obasanjo Farm. He took our television station from us, WNTV. He took our radio station from us. He took everything that Awolowo built with the taxes generated in Yoruba land. It is because it's not a full-blooded Yoruba citizen. So all of these people who are not full-blooded Yoruba, they have a party, PDP Yoruba. They are the people that are attacking Tinubu, saying that Tinubu is corrupt. It is the same thing they did when Awolowo was there. Awolowo was operating, fortunately for us, we have his daughter here. When he was operating, he started at the age of 23. Throughout Awolowo's reign, the English did not put him in prison. Then it was Awolowo and the other Yoruba who chased away the English from Yoruba land and Nigeria. Now, just under 2 years that the English left, Balewa and Zik, who are Igbo and Hausa Fulani, put Awolowo under house arrest in 1962, and by 1963 they jailed him for 10 years for phantom treason. So what do you say? But there were Yoruba who supported him. They destroyed Awolowo without enabling him to use his human capital to govern Nigeria and change that country. It is the same thing they did to Abiola. They killed him and his wife. What are they doing to Tinubu now? This is what liberals are doing in Yoruba land. This is what half Yoruba are doing in Yoruba land. And when we're talking about leadership, these are things we are going to say. I'm a full-blooded Yoruba from 2 tribes in Yoruba land. Oderemo, which is Ijebu, the Remo tribe, and Akoko or Okakoko, which is Akoko tribe. So I will protect the interests of the Yoruba nation better than Obasanjo, who is half Yoruba. So these are some of the issues that are fundamentals. I think I've been cut short in the television. But let me go.
No. You haven't been cut short. Nothing of that. No, go ahead.
Okay. No. So if you look at number 4 prerequisite of choosing Yoruba leader, such Yoruba leader, his spouse must be a Yoruba. This has to do with self-preservation. And number 5, have been seen by people. These are very important prerequisites, and this man meets every of these prerequisites, but they are ganging up against him, trying to destroy him. They realize that he is now the next person to be president of Nigeria. But these Yoruba liberals are ganging up under different names. They call themselves Yoruba Summit Group. They call themselves Yoruba World Congress. It's an insult that the Yoruba World Congress, which Dr. Amos Akingba is a part of. They took Yoruba Nation to the UNPO, the unrepresentative people. Yoruba is the majority in Nigeria. I think I've been cut short on TV. People can't see me at home. But I will continue to speak anyway. Yoruba is the largest.
Hold on. Just hold on. If you cannot be seen, let me know. Studio, nobody has cut you short. I can see you on screen. I can see you. I can see you on the screen. Nobody has.
Okay, let me continue.
Where are you now? I can't see your face now. I can see you now. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I can continue. The UNPO, which Dr. Amos Akingba and their leader, Professor Banji Akintoye, has put Yoruba into, it's an insult on the integrity of the Yoruba nation. We are 60 million people, the majority ethnic group in Nigeria, and we are even the largest in Africa. You don't, that is Scottish, that is it's. If you look at the leadership of the United Kingdom, why is it that it is only the English that have always been producing the Prime Minister? The Scottish don't compete to be Prime Minister. The Welsh don't compete to be Prime Minister. The Northern Irish don't compete. Look at the United States. The Caucasian are 73% of the population of the United States. African America, they are only 12%. You will not see African America ruling over the Caucasian. It is only in Nigeria where minority Fulani will be ruling over the Yoruba majority. allow the use of Yoruba language. This is a political party that want to win election in Yoruba land. But because they are liberals, they are full of half Yoruba, half Igbo people there. We're having a lot of problems. So when it comes to leadership, we have a leader now. We have had election. We have had 6 general elections since 1999. 6 general elections, and I'll give you this. 1999 to 2003, 2003 to 2007, 2007 to 2011, 2011 to 2015, 2015 to 2019. We have had another one, 2019 to 2023. The conservative Yoruba APC won 4 out of these 6 general elections. Tinubu has been able to win election. Why don't you want to defer to him? Why are you bringing problem for this man? Why do you want to disparage him? You call him criminals because he's not supporting some of you. Look at Pahayo Adebanjo. It's always probably not the Igbo. Igbo are minority, 40 million people. Yoruba is 60 million. You cannot see black African American ruling over Caucasian in the United States. You cannot see Scottish being prime minister in the United Kingdom. It doesn't be English. We Yoruba should rule. Why is these people antagonizing Tinubu, who are so desperate to destroy this man? Why are they not reasonable? Why is Pahayo Adebanjo supporting Igbo? Will you ever see a Caucasian saying that an African American should come and be president? Obama is not an African American. It's half Kenya, half Caucasian. So these are real problems. And you spoke about conflict resolution. There will not be peace in Yoruba land until the leadership of the PDP are taken over by full-blooded Yoruba citizens. But Bodejo is married to non-Yoruba. Obasanjo is Igbo. Seyi Makinde, the governor of Oyo State, is not a full-blooded Yoruba. We have allowed non-Yoruba to have enormous political power in our space. And this is destroying our nation. It is destroying the future of my children. Look at what is going on. Minority Fulani, they will come from Sokoto, Kano, Kaduna, Katsina, Jigawa, Zamfara, Kebbi State to come and control my waterways in Lagos, to come and control my waterways in Ogun. They control my waterways in Ondo. They control our waterways in Ishekiri. This Hausa Fulani will come and be in charge of our airport in Lagos. They have airport also. They have Sadiq Abubakar III International Airport in Sokoto. They have Aminu Kano International Airport. It is their children that are working there. Yoruba cannot still control the Lagos International Airport. They gave it a ridiculous name called Muritala Mohammed. But I live here in England with master's degree with 5 books to my name, doing shit job for English. But in my own space, foreigners, Igbo, control my waterways. Foreigners, Hausa, Fulani, and Igbo are in charge of our customs. We have 11 custom commands in Yoruba land. 11. It is Hausa Fulani that are controlling it. All the taxes collected in Yoruba land, it is Hausa Fulani and Igbo that are enjoying it. That's why they brought unity system. This is the constitution of Western Nigeria, which we have just interpreted to the entire world. As far back as last week, we finished our program on that. The Igbo and the Fulani moved together with the support of irresponsible Yoruba.
May I interrupt you there for a moment? Now, okay, I'm sure somebody's checking the time for you as well. I would like, you've focused the topic leadership. You've focused it on citing examples of people who are not necessarily able to defend themselves, but I'm sure they've heard. I would love in the future some of these issues you are raising to be able to convene a session where those you are talking about are sitting in the same room with you if possible. So at least because AGBA KONI NILE OODUA wants to acknowledge their contentious issues, wants to acknowledge misunderstandings, but the misunderstandings cannot be found unless those that you are, I mean, for instance, the issue of full-bloodedness is something that I would want to take as a separate topic in the future because it's a big topic. And if it is a problem, it's either we got facts to be able to cross-check that, because what you're talking about is progress. If we're going to have progress, you have identified the following problems. 1, people who are not full-blooded. You have stated it's actually the bone of contention. You have talked about people attacking fellow Yorubas and blocking fellow Yorubas. You've talked about what took place and agreements at a particular time in the life of Nigeria. 3, about ethnic nationalist conference. Those are very important issues. This forum is actually solution driven. So those 3 things that you've mentioned, the only solution you are giving me is that those people are to be warned. Now, I'm a conservative. I don't believe that if people are doing what is wrong, I'm going to just be warning them. I'm going to be looking at how to facilitate action. So what is the action? Over to you. Please go ahead. Over to you.
I have a solution which I haven't.
Thank you.
Just but let me, in respect of evidence base, there is a book called Genetic Variations Among the 3 Major Ethnic Groups in Nigeria using RAP, R-A-P. It was published in 2018 by Olukanmi Titilayo, Amos Samuel, and Taiwo Adewumi. They concluded that Hausa and Fulani people have a reduced intermarriage, and for this, they are able to think for the collective goods of their people first and foremost. The research finding also stated that the Yoruba maintain a limited success in self-preservation and unity of purpose because it has a higher rate of intermarriage with others. It's a research that we've done. We're so thorough about this. And let me say about the solution. You talk about conflict resolution, forgiveness, or unity and peace. If there must be peace in Yoruba land, we all must accept one thing. Whether you are liberal or conservative, we must think Yoruba first. And in terms of policies or aims and objectives to achieve unity and progress for the Yoruba nation, we have identified 3 fundamental things that we need to do as a nation. 1, we the Yoruba, we are the majority ethnic group in Nigeria. We ought to rule Nigeria, control the presidency of Nigeria without zoning with anybody, because that is what is obtainable in the United States. The Caucasian don't zone presidency or any political post with African America. The English don't zone the prime ministership of Britain with the Scottish or the Welsh or the Northern Irish. No, we as Yoruba people must rule everybody in Nigeria. And if they don't want, there's no compulsion. We break up the country peacefully. That is fundamental, because if you look at the wealth of Nigeria, the federal government of Nigeria has 7 major sources of income: NNPC, the custom, NIMASA, MPA, CBN, and liquefied natural gas, and federal inland revenue services. Yoruba as a nation in Nigeria, for every 100 naira that the federal government gets as revenue, the Yoruba contribute 49 naira. The people of the South, which is together, not one nation, but they're about 5, Edo, Urobo, Ijo, Efik, and Ibibiu, they contributed 44 naira of every 100 naira that is generated as revenue by the federal government. The rest, that is Hausa Fulani, the Kanuri, the Igbo, and the Middle Belt, collectively amongst them, they generated only 7%. So Hausa Fulani is only contributing 2.5% of the revenue of the federal government. Igbo is contributing 1.5%. The Middle Belt is contributing 2%, and the Kanuri is contributing 1%. How can these people that contributed nothing to the running of Nigeria be presiding over the country? So the solution is very simple for the Yoruba nation. We have to impress it. If you want unity, I don't believe in the unity of Yoruba. I believe that we need to deal squarely, precisely with the Yoruba Libra, who are in the PDP, and other mushroom organization pretending as if they want the desire of the Yoruba nation. The solution is this. We must do one thing: lobby the United States of America. The Fulani has the backing of the English. Fulani cannot produce ordinary hand grenade bomb. They cannot even produce AK-47. How come they are ruling over you? Because they have the backing of the English. It is called neo-colonialism. During slavery and colonialism, the English were physically coming into Yoruba land, sending colonial officers who are English to come and take over our space, control all governance in Yoruba land and Nigeria. That has stopped. It is now neo-colonialism, whereby the English support minority in Nigeria, and they've identified Fulani as minority. Fulani is less than 5% of the total population of Nigeria. So the English support them with weapons. So they now enslave us. That is neo-colonialism. When Fulani are in government, the English control, they are the concessionary managing our port, they control our capital market and financial market. They have all businesses like Guinness, Nigerian PLC, like PricewaterhouseCoopers, Standard Chartered Bank, like Cadbury. They are making huge money from us, and we don't have any allies. Our parent generation were very, very not informed. Anybody with white skin, they don't like them. No, America never colonized Yoruba, and I've said this for people to present evidence. We were colonized by the English. So if we want greatness, I will round up. I will round up now in 2 minutes. If we want peace, unity, and progress in Yoruba land, one, we must lobby the United States of America, particularly to support the Republican Party under President Trump, because the Fulani has the backing of the English. Now, we play politics. We must support our own flesh and blood, a full-blooded Yoruba, as the president of Nigeria from 2023. We have been impressing on this audio Oodua agitators shouting all over the streets, asking English to give them Oodua Republic, English that are stealing your wealth. They won't give it to you. We're asking them, your party is the Yoruba PDP. Impress it on your friends who are Igbo to appoint Akinwumi Adesina, the current president of the African Development Bank, as the candidate of the EDP in 2023 election. Now, allow us, the conservative, to bring out Tinubu as the candidate of the APC for 2020. Head or tail, the Yoruba will be citizen, will be president of Nigeria. That is very, very important. And if that should be the case, we will call the two of them. They will go to, it is written in our constitution, the head of state of Yoruba land used to be governor of Yoruba land, which is Oni of Ife. And the president of Yoruba land in the constitution of Western Nigeria is the Alaafin of Oyo, who was the president of the House of Obas. They call it House of Chief. It's ridiculous. Our Obas are not chief, they are Obas. So we have changed it to House of Obas. Then we'll call the two of them, Tinubu and Akinwumi Adesina. We call them to go and meet with the Obas to have an agreement that whoever becomes president in 2023 would devolve power back to the region. So we want our constitution back, which was destroyed by Igbo. And the third and final, in case we don't get the support of the United States, in case we don't get Tinubu presidency, it's organized violence. Igbo used organized violence in 1966, killing everybody to suspend regional government. Hausa Fulani came with organized violence in July 1966 to suppress and kill everybody. And Hausa Fulani are using organized violence to retain the presidency of Nigeria. And our own option, last option, is organized violence. We must use what we have to get what we want. We are going to bring down Lagos, and our Papa local government is our target, because that is where we have our port, our Papa Wharf and Tinker.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I'll stop at that.
I thank you very much. You've had a lot to say. Whilst I'm trying to highlight some of the issues, and I think somebody's got a point of personal explanation, which will be very quick. If the Right Honorable Olusegun Bolanle Gbele is in the Zoom area, let me have a quick look. If he's not there, then I'm going to go quickly to, I believe, Olorisha Temple Nefertari is already there. So Temple, would you please get ready? There's a point of personal explanation, which is going to be very brief. Mr. Thomas, do you have a point of personal explanation? If you do, you've got 2 minutes to do so before I comment on what has been said today. A point of personal explanation? Can I say your points of personal explanation must be related to you? You've been mentioned. No, points of personal explanation. No, just hold on. Adenka, just hold on for a moment. Hold on a second. Mr. Thomas, what your point of personal explanation must be your name mentioned and you want to correct the information. If you don't have that, wait till the time to make comments. Yes, go ahead. Yes. On that note, I want to thank you for your personal explanation. Adeyinka grandson, you only got 60 seconds to say whatever you want to say. Temple Nefetari, please get ready to take the stage. 60 seconds.
Let me respond to that.
Yes.
Thank you very much. In terms of the full-blooded Yoruba, we have not defeated ourselves. We can no longer accept or allow half Yoruba to take political prominence in the leadership of Yoruba land, because you are constituting nuisance, a big one for the Yoruba nation. And we are the only one that has the highest rate of intermarriage in the world. In terms of your station, you have always supported the PDP. You supported Citizen AY, you supported David Hamilton, you supported Olayomi Koiki, you supported all the leaders in the PDP agitating for Audio Oodua Republic. And your target is Tinubu. That's what you use your station for.
Can I stop you there? On the 2nd of October, on the 2nd of October, Tinubu matter is coming up. It's coming up there. On the 2nd of October, Tinubu matter is coming up. Wait till then.
Yoruba is a nation. Yoruba is not a tribe. Yoruba is a nation. Within the Yoruba nation, there are 20 tribes. Akoko tribe, Ijebu tribe, Igbomi tribe.
You are actually disobeying my rules. No. You are disobeying the rules. You are disobeying the rules now. Adeyinka, please. You are disobeying the rules. I have only got up to 3 o'clock. I still have 3 speakers. So please let us proceed. Before we proceed, studio, I cannot see the screen. Can you please get somebody on the screen? I can only see darkness. Now, it is important to be soft and strong. And the combination of that is what most people cannot master. I am generally a strong person, but since I've joined this program, I'm beginning to find a way to reduce the, shall I say, the height of my, what lives in me, which is quality Eshogo that lives inside me. So I want to repeat, we need to begin to master being soft and being very strong at the same time. Thank you for your contribution, Adeyinka grandson. Your passion is glaring. But what we need to do is to be able to utilize your passion in a way to facilitate the desired goals of goodness for the Yoruba nation. All the people you have mentioned, I'm sure if one looks at every one of them, they too will passionately believe in what they believe they are all about. You are clearly talking about a need to separate those who are, if you like, not full-blooded Yoruba and those who are full-blooded Yoruba. Let me give you an example, and I think it's very important to give this example. Brazil, for instance. Many people talk about Brazil, and Brazil is a good example, a very good example of people we all over the world see as Yorubas. Let me shock you by saying Yorubaness belongs to 3 groups in Brazil. There are those who believe in Yorubaness, and they haven't got one single blood of Yoruba in them. Some of them are even Italian-blooded, and some of them have got blue eyes, but they are Yorubas. There's another group, those who half of their ancestors migrated directly from Yoruba land, and the other half are Angolans. They are Angolans. I don't talk theory. I have been there, not just once. Angolans. I remember being invited to come and see a dance, and I was looking forward to the dance. And I saw those who you can call pure-blooded Yoruba dancing this Angolan dance. And tears welled up on my face, and I had to struggle not to tell them that what they believe is Yoruba dance. It's not quite Yoruba dance. And I recall also just listening to somebody sing, the words were not accurate. Many songs exist in Brazil, in Bahia, in Rio de Janeiro. Songs, ancient songs that only if you are really deep Yoruba, you'll be able to find that out. I saw the egungun there. I saw Igbale egungun. I saw a woman wanted to lead me into Igbale egungun. I know that unless unless téèyàn bá ṣàwọ egungun, wọ́n ní àwọ egungun lobìnrin lè ṣe. Unless you do that, and when I wanted to take the necessary steps before I went in, she didn't understand that. So I remember too, having grown up in kind of an area, I believe I understand Yorubaness, I asked them to bring red oil. And the person who I told that said, "Epo pupa." You know, let me say, my ancestors were major slave traders, and we were trading in slaves before the white man came. Osoyin, there's a story about Osoyin bought as a slave. We were trading in slaves. So the issue of this purity of Yoruba-ness, we will return to it. Your passion is well appreciated. Let me say you've raised a number of issues, not necessarily evidence-based in terms of the other parties not being able to corroborate what has been said, but received as information to be tackled in the future. So I'm going to invite Olorisha Temple Nefitari. Welcome, Right Honorable Olusegun Gbelayi. You came in, I would have called you now, but you stepped out again, so I have no alternative. I'm afraid you need to please stay with us for another 10 minutes so that I don't call anyone else before you. Thank you for taking your time. I know you're a very busy person. So over to you, Temple, you have 10 minutes. Introduce yourself and please share your thoughts. I'm looking forward to it. Studio, has she been unmuted?
Yes, she's unmuted.
No, you can hear her now. We can hear her now. Please, we can hear you. Speak up, please. Increase the volume. Hello. 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 And she's trying to, let's give her a few minutes and see if she can sort it out. It's the second time of attempt. Are you here? Hello, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. Have you got earpiece? If you have got earpiece, I don't think you have. Is it on? Sorry? We can't hear you. Let's step out of it. What is she saying? Sorry? She's trying to. Are you using your phone or you are using a laptop? Are you using your phone? Are you using your phone or laptop? Oh no, go to phone. Use your phone. Use your phone. Use your phone. I'll send her a message. Are you trying to bring her on now? Studio? Thank you. It's our second time of trying, but not getting it through right. I think because of time constraints, I'll have to studio. Is this something you can fix very quickly? Well, don't worry. I will get in touch with that. Let's go straight to Right Honorable Olusegun Bolanle Gbeleyi. Welcome. I would be very grateful if you briefly introduce yourself at the beginning and share your thoughts with us on the matter before us, which is leadership, misunderstanding, unresolved conflicts, forgiveness, and of course, a Yoruba nation fit for purpose. Is over to you. Akabo, over to you. We're ready for you.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can everybody?
Yes, we can hear you.
Honorable Olusegun Bolanle Gbeleyi, a former Deputy Speaker of Nigeria. I'm here this afternoon to make contribution on how we can have a sound leadership that will manage conflicts and unite the Yoruba nation. I will begin by saying a leader is a servant to all, and if you don't have a heart to serve others without looking for reward, you are not a leader. If you can't withstand the criticism and you can't withstand and survive the havoc of hate speech, you are not a leader. If you don't have the power of forgiving and forgetting, you are not a leader. If you stop doing good because nobody recognizes your kind gesture, you are not a leader. If you see your followers making mistakes, but you keep quiet, saying, if they don't call me for advice, I will allow them learn by experience. Your attitude depicts that you are not a leader. Do you have the pull down syndrome? When you see someone doing better than you, what do? Encourage or pull them down? A genuine leader should not desire the downfall of his followers who are better than him. If you close doors for your subordinates because you are afraid they will be far better than you are not a leader. If you don't produce your kind, you are only a champion doing great and mighty things. You are not a leader. Never forget, every good leader must have a better successor. As a leader, you must feed on knowledge. Don't be stagnant. Improve yourself so you can make impact. As a leader, be a ladder for others to climb to the top. Don't pull them down. Your desire should be to make your followers better than yourself. Be humble. Let them learn from your mistakes. Do not watch them grope in darkness when you can guide them as a light. A leader should be compassionate. How can you be comfortable when your followers are living in abject poverty? A leader should have the heart. A leader leads and ensure his family is safe. A good leader should provide for his own people sacrificially without using them for his personal agenda. A leader should have heart of a mother. When the child is sick, the mother runs helter-skelter to ensure his quick recovery. Why do you pretend you don't know your followers are suffering? A leader should not allow evil people to make him wicked, no matter how good you are. Some people will not like you. A leader should not allow evil to prevail in the land because of his personal interest. Do what is right for conscience sake and leave the rest. A leader should not be partial in judgment. We need leaders who can be fair in judgment, be a voice to voiceless in the society without fear nor favor. Treat the rich and the poor alike with love and kindness. Do you have the loving heart of a leader? You are probably wondering, this article is meant for our leaders over there. You are wrong. It is meant for you and I. I mean that is reading it now or listening to me now. You are far from the truth. Believe it or not, you are a leader. You might be unfair, you might be under training, but know that you are a leader all the same. In your business, you are a leader. Start making impact from there. Remember, charity begins at home. In your business, be a great leader. Wherever you are placed to watch over people, please be a good leader. Don't just be a leader, be a great one. Being a leader is a privilege. Don't misuse it. Neither should you take undue advantage of your subordinates. You are a leader to nurture great minds into fulfilling their destiny. Remember, what is worth doing at all is worth doing well. I see. Conflict management is a core leadership skill that every leader must possess and can best be developed through critical consultation with significant persons in leaders' network. It involves networking, listening, and learning from others. The Yoruba nation has the potential to lead the nation if it becomes more united in the ideals of our tradition that gives reference to the place of elders within the society. The traditional rulers must be reconciled, or they are subject to listen to the political leaders. And a pan-Yoruba conference to discuss differences to forge a platform for forgiveness among the Yorubas would be a good idea in this direction. Like the Oputa panel, conflict management will require pacifying many subgroups over a period of time. It is not too late to start now. I end. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. I'm very, very grateful. Whilst I'm hoping that Wolorisha Temple Nefertari will be able to resolve it, may I invite an attorney also, similar to Temple, to please share his thoughts so far. Amòfin Táíwò Òdùmọ̀ṣù, ẹ dákun kí lẹ ṣe bá a rí sí ibi tá a dé yìí. You are one of my praisers. Would you please spend 5 minutes appraising the contents of what we have heard to date? Over to you. Táíwò Òdùmọ̀ṣù. I'm sure we'll be able to find him. Yes. Have you found him? Studio Táíwò Òdùmọ̀ṣù.
I'm looking through now.
Thank you.
I've located him. He needs to unmute his microphone.
Right. Can you please unmute your microphone? One of my praisers, I generally have one or two in the audience. Over to you.
Hello, ma.
Please go ahead. Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Well, thank you.
Please introduce yourself. Please introduce yourself. Thank you.
My name is Táíwò Òdùmọ̀ṣù. I'm a lawyer and a lecturer. I've been listening to the speakers, except the last speaker and Madinka grandson, but I was able to hear some of the things grandson said. But I want to say that the topic is a seminar one on its own, combining leadership, misunderstanding, unresolved conflicts, and all sorts of together. It's such a huge one that this occasion would be very small to deal with the issues. But let me say that the disconnection between Yoruba leadership and the people is an interesting one, because the moment the politicians, they get to the office, they get disconnected with the people. And the moment that disconnection occurs, you see that the demands of the public will not be satisfied because they don't communicate with us again. I want to remember that in 1983, I was still a secondary school student, and there was this election that was coming up. The Chief Bisi Rodipe was then the chairman of Ijebu, the local government in my area. And before the man started campaigning, he came to the community, met the Bale, and the Bale called some of us that were youth representatives, and they told us what the man wanted to do and those things that will be gained in our community. But today, that doesn't happen, and that is very sad. Then we now want to look at what causes the conflict itself in our community. We discovered that the values that we have in those days are no longer present now. A lot of things that we cherish, the politicians have actually taken them off because they don't report back to the community. I was part of the program you did the other time when Chief Adebanjo was talking about the betrayal of some of the political appointees that were supported to get to either to the governorship position or to the House of Rep or to the Senate. And at the end of the day, the agreement they had, they abandoned it, and they were pursuing their personal interests. These are the things that will not bring progress to Yoruba land. So if we want progress in Yoruba land, all these things we have to align them to the program of the party as well as to the program of the community. Because if we don't, if all these things go the way they are going, I'm not sure we are going to have a sound Yoruba nation. Presently, we have been agitating for a Yoruba nation, for Oodua nation, and a lot of things have been happening. Some have been saying that we shouldn't be combatant about it. We shouldn't. We should go peaceful. But to some of us, we believe that we have been our elders, the Afeniferes, the YWCs, they've been very peaceful about these issues all along. But presently, we the youths, we believe that the only way we can resolve this is to face the people, these Fulani people, the way they have been facing us. So there's no reason why some people should come from their community to Okeogun and be killing our people, and we'll fold our arms, kidnapping, doing all sorts of rubbish. We'll fold our arms and think that is the way things should be. We should just turn the left eye, the left ear, like the biblical saying. We can't be turning our ears from left to the right to them. We have to actually claim what is our own. Tomorrow, if we don't fight for today, our children and children's children will suffer for it. So I quite agree with those who said that it is better for us to actually fight for what is our own.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. We now have a Temple on her phone. She won't be able to use the video. So can we please bring her in?
Yes.
I'm sure
Temple Nefertari.
She's back with us.
We've unmuted.
Let's have a look.
We've just unmuted.
Yes, Temple is here with us. So if you can please bring her in, we won't be able to use video.
Are you hearing me?
We can now hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Lovely. Aburo Aboye, I salute my ancestors and all the ancestors present here, all the positive divinities. Let me extend royal greetings to my elders, my brothers and sisters, and special greetings to the convener of this gathering, Erilu Towashe, for the decisive and critical steps you have taken, Erilu, in the interest of the Yoruba descendants scattered in the Caribbean. We thank you for being so mindful of our existence and including us in the discussions as they pertain to the development and the progress of the Yoruba nation. And I thank you for the honor of being able to add my voice to this conversation. I certainly welcome the shared insights that are coming out of this gathering. I want to touch on returning knowledge and understanding of womanhood to women in the Caribbean as I lead into women in leadership. And this is more in the sense of returning women to their true sense of self as a means to realizing the progress that we all want. Now, this is a deep concern for me because of what we grapple with in terms of women and character in the Caribbean. And I will just pause here to something that I perhaps should have done earlier, to say that I'm an attorney at law practicing in the jurisdictions of Trinidad and Tobago and Barbados. Trinidad is very dear to me. It's my ancestral home in the Caribbean. Although I was born in Barbados, I belong to Orisha shrines and AGBAs in both countries. I work with women, I work with children. My interest is development, and what underpins this development is the knowledge with understanding of the value of our cultural heritage, our traditions. So I continue here. The majority of women are emotionally unbalanced and are therefore unable to access ancestral memory and inherent knowledge of who they truly are. This dearth has handicapped the development and progress of our communities and our African families. Before we reach the stage of even looking at a woman as a partner in marriage, we need to look to assist our women in healing themselves. There's a missing link, whether it exists because our women folk missed out on a certain cultural upbringing, or because of the failure of our mothers to effectively pass on the essence of womanhood. There is a critical knowledge with understanding that is missing. And my participation in a forum such as this is also to gather from you an understanding of those essences and how we can reconstruct paths at accessing these for our women in the diaspora. I'm calling on all of us to work harder towards unity, to go the extra mile. There is no disputing that we have been challenged in the area of uniting, and it is only us as a people who can do the work that is necessary to accomplish, to achieve the degree of unity that is necessary for the development that we want for ourselves. Women in leadership in the Caribbean must lead with these concerns in mind, understanding fully that the roles that we know women to take up in our societies, these everyday roles are roles of nurturing and leadership. And we therefore need women to be their best selves. I am of the firm opinion that there's a place for the traditional woman as a leader because of the void in knowledge and understanding that she can fill in our Caribbean societies. I'm confident that these women will emerge and be heard, but one hand does not clap. And I want to remind our men who were given the reins of leadership that there is a place for women. Women must be respected. It is disrespectful to use or to highlight a woman's softer qualities, a woman's inherent qualities. It is disrespectful to use these, to highlight them as being disadvantageous to progress. And it happens many times where we hear men in particular sometimes some women, referring to these softer qualities of women as not being useful. These very same qualities men want women to exhibit in the home and in the interests of the family, but they diminish the value of these qualities when they are magnified and strategically applied to governance. I also want to remind men of where they physically emerged from the womb, from between the legs of women, that Olodumare has entrusted women that sacred task of bringing the human person from the spirit realm to the earthly realm. Surely respect should be paid to our women and their contributions, the contributions that they can make and that they are ready to make. So to tie these together, the future of the Yoruba nation also depends on how we develop our societies in the diaspora as well. It depends on how we work together strategically in the exchange of knowledge with understanding to build our leaders, both men and women. But I'm calling for this support to be given to women because of what women are poised to give at this point in time in our time. If we look around, we can see that women are poised to deliver, and any assistance that can be given through unity should be given. I believe the voices of us in the Caribbean are added here to share the perspective that we in the Caribbean, in the diaspora of the Caribbean, we are generations of descendants of Yoruba people, of Ibu people, of Iwe people, of Fante people, of Ashanti people, of the Rada people, and more. There's a place for us. This is where we must strive to resolve conflicts and forgive past decisions of our people if we must build for the future. We do not have a template. We're not going to find a template because it's all coming at us new. But we can for sure reach back for the principles in our history, our traditional cultural principles. Those are what we can reach for as we build on the path to our future. That is the extent of my contribution. Erelu, I thank you, and I thank you so graciously for receiving this contribution.
Thank you very much, Temple. It's always a delight to welcome you. I guess whilst this program has been on, it's been very interesting how many people send me messages asking us to speak Yoruba and claiming that unless we are speaking Yoruba, our heritage is not being preserved. Well, we all have limitations. And I think there will come a time when people will know that there are more non-Yoruba speaking Yorubas than the Yoruba speakers. At this junction, I want to welcome Princess Morade Wadedoyi. Thank you very much for joining us. Usually you are prompt, and together we move this vessel forward. Thank you for joining me, and I'm sure at some point I'll call upon you to be able to facilitate an ending to this. A lot has been said, a lot has been heard. I'm just going to do a quick going around the room, whilst I would like Papa Dr. Chief AGBA to be ready to do some kind of a response, because as a keynote speaker, a lot has been said. And also, I would also suggest that Yeye Oba of Remoland, Ambassador Dr. Olatokunbo Awolodosunmu also gets ready. She's going to have the last say, and after whatever she's got to say, it will be time for us to depart from this day. As Amofin Taiwo Dumosu said, well, I think the entire topic has the capacity for 10 years. But for me, it can be dealt with in 30 minutes when those who are invited to speak on the subject know their stuff. So it's over to, let's see who I can invite to comment in the, let's see, Sister Winora Olufumilayo, if you've been, yes, Sister Winora Olufumilayo, please introduce yourself and maybe you may want to comment on what you have heard to date. Over to you. Winora Olufumilayo is there with us.
I've unmuted her, ma'am.
Thank you. You're very kind.
Good afternoon. Unfortunately, I'm at work listening in, so I can't really stay online to make any comment as such. But this is
Okay.
really a Yoruba situation, and us in the diaspora who are non-speaking Yoruba, who have not grown up in the tradition, I think we're not at in a position to dictate to those who are Yorubas and living in Yoruba land. So I'm just listening. Blessed love. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Benro Debumi seems to be in the audience. If you've been with us for a while, just quick comments, couple of minutes, based on what you've heard. Anything to add?
He's been unmuted, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hi, can't see myself. Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Bienro Odebumi. I live in the UK. It's been nice hearing a lot of stuff that's actually left a gap in my mind. Thank you for all the contributions. And I'm very privileged to be part of this this meeting. I will look, and in the next meeting, I'll be able to put together things that that's actually answered all the unanswered question in things, because I don't really follow all the sagas that's been involving Yoruba land. I've been maybe too quiet and I'm very reserved. So I would like to choose and say my words very carefully in the contribution. So please pardon me.
Thank you.
And the next meeting, I will definitely contribute hugely.
Thank you. Thank you. Professor Moyo Ogedengbe is in the arena. Quick comments based on what you've heard today, whilst I'm going to go straight to Dr. Akingba straight after that. Over to you, Professor Ogedengbe.
Professor Mayo Gidingbe, you've been unmuted.
Yes, Mayo, well, yes, that's it. If he's not there, maybe want to go to somebody with the surname Shashere, Michael Shashere. What about him? Is he available to share his thoughts?
Oh, hello. Oh.
Oh. Okay, well, I think Mr. Shashara is already with us. So,
yes,
oh, okay. Oh, I don't know why I was muted out.
Well, let's do Shashere first and then Ogedengbe next, please.
Yes.
Michael Shashere, a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Has he been unmuted or we've got
No,
problem
no, he's not.
unmuting him?
He's not muted, man. He's actually on screen.
Okay. Any comments? Couple of minutes from you?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for the privilege. Glad to be part of this. I've been following the discussion when Dr. Awolowo has been online. I just want to share a little perspective about advocating for the Republic is a very good thing. But I am think of these challenges because our leaders majorly would that office for now. Everyone have personal ambition.
The network is not very good. The network is not very good, I'm afraid. I do apologize. The network is not very good from your end. It's not. I do apologize. We've got to go straight to Professor Gideon. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Yeye Erelu, and predecessors that have spoken. What comes to mind is the question of the position of the Yoruba culture as Yoruba person. They said, where you do not apply your philosophy from basic culture to whatever you do, you give way to accidental evil. This has been showing itself in most of the contributions we had today. It shows that the level of dislocation in the Yoruba world today is very, very disturbing. So we're talking about who is Yoruba, who is not Yoruba, genotype and phenotype Yoruba. No, it's one, the cultural bias nexus of everybody is Yoruba says, Binoba Joni, Jo Omeni, Tara Eni, Lang Kokogman, which means the bias nexus, own self bias, own tribe bias, own nation bias, own species bias, they all count at the level. But if you don't follow these natural rules, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. So it shows that the work we have to do to make sure that the Yoruba culture be made functional, to be the point of departure in everything we do. So it's showing us how much work we have to do. So I will stop at that. Lou, thank you very much. Maybe in the future that all this will be brought into the open for us to have a common approach. Thank you. Eshe.
Thank you very much indeed. We've only got half an hour. So I think because we've got half an hour, I'm going to divide the half and our presiding guests and usually a mother for most of these sessions, and that is Her Excellency Ambassador Dr. Awolowo Dosunmu. She's going to speak last. I'm going to invite Dr. Imosaru Gudade Akingba to reflect on what has been said today and share his final thoughts with us. I'll allow 10 minutes.
Okay,
Dr. Akingba.
He's been asked to unmute.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Once again, my gratitude for today's event, and I look forward to similar ones from time to time. I feel very honored. Today, one of my young boys called me a Libra. Not the star Libra, but that I'm in PDP, I'm in this. For correction, I'm not in any political party. I have friends in all the groups. some of them we started together. And when they did not meet my own specifications of the objective set, I move off. That's the way I operate myself. But if I'm given a name or given a group name, whoever does it, I wish them good luck. Well, you could be seriously mistaken. I like to look for where we can find solutions to problems and not to generate further problems. The Yoruba situation is very serious. The structure of Nigeria cannot make anybody make a progress. If we restructure Nigeria as previous activities, regimes have done, maybe we'll move a little bit forward. But there are fundamental differences between those who believe in theocratic approach to governance and those who believe in democracy. What we have now in Nigeria for a long time is theocracy. And it's a peculiar cultural theocracy of the Fulanis. I think they have a right to protect and project their own culture, but they don't have a right to impose it on me. Just as I don't have a right to impose mine on them. And so if we cannot find a common ground to live peacefully and progressively, I think it's better to go separate ways than wasting lives. Nigeria is wasting. We are in retrogressive evolution. We are not progressing. And we are an embarrassment to many people who are non-Nigerians, who are non-Yorubas. Just as we are, some of us, a great deal of us are embarrassed that look at what is happening to us. Anybody, like this young man, can promote any Yoruba personality to hold power. And he can even expound what I would call Hitlerian ideology of pure blood. But if he has a majority of people to support him, I'm a Democrat. If it works, and majority Yoruba people say they want pure blood, I'm okay. I will qualify, but I don't need to have pure blood to be a human being. Because I really don't know how pure these pure bloods are. Even within the Yoruba groups, we are not, there are sub-ethnic groups in Yoruba. If you want pure blood, a sub-ethnic group should not move to marry anybody outside his own group. But these are juvenile approaches. But I wish these people to grow up and they will learn. Maybe when ọmọdé ń ṣe yàn, ọmọdé ló ń ṣe ní àgbà ọ̀ṣẹ́. I've seen too much. I've seen quite a lot to know that I have to tolerate my fellow human beings. To know that the world does not belong to me alone, or my group, or my tribe. I know that if we are not greedy, and if we are not stupid to be greedy, there's enough for all of us to make useful lives. There's enough to organize our family lives in better ways. Our educational system, our economy, our political system, our religious beliefs, our media, mass media, our physical infrastructures, roads, schools, buildings, water, electricity. We have more than enough to have good ones. When you see these various agencies and the revelations coming out of EFCC, about what individuals and small coterie of people have taken. Personally, I shiver. Some of them are my friends. I really don't like to make enemies. But when I see my friend in that contraption, oh, I say, my God, what does he need all this for? There are some of Nigerians, Yoruba, who have Rolls Royce in Nigeria. Where is the road for Rolls Royce car? Where are the roads? Where are the fuel? Because a Rolls Royce cannot take anything less than 93 point something octane. And we don't have more than 60 something here. Where's the mechanic to service it? Some even have 2 or 3 or 4 in the midst of squalor. And if you investigate, how did they get to all of this? They are not clean, they are not clear, they are not correct. I thank Irelu very much. I've been following her a bit. Her approach is okay, like we've been talking all this time. But I think we may have to fight. When I say that, people say, hey, you are Rugundadina. I say, maybe that is part of it. If we are talking sense to friends and say, let's do it, and refuse, and you want to stamp me down, I'm not a lazy person. And the Yorubas are not lazy. Our history is very clear. We have never been subjugated in the history of humanity. We've suffered some negative experiences like slavery, but we have never been conquered. We have never been enslaved, as now circumstances in the past 60 years are beginning to indicate that we are slipping into slavery. I would once again thank all the participants. But if you think that some of us fell out, you are mistaken, grossly mistaken. If you want to go and meet the enemy to cut your head off, that's your own suicide mission. I will feel very bad. You will not be alone in our history, people who commit suicide. But if you are reasonable, if you are wise, you'll find out that the person who wants to cut your head off, you can prevent it, and you can tell him that, let's not do it that way. And if he insists not, I can guarantee you that if you plan well, it is most likely that you cut his own head off before he cuts yours off. But if you are not well planned and you're exuberant and you're hula baloo and all that, good luck to whatever you have. It will be painful for us to see how people walk into their gallows. An elder does not speak in everything. You signpost. I am challenging Yorubas and non-Yorubas within the Nigerian geography. Let's make a good country. We can, we should. Failure would bring a larger problem, would be disastrous. People did that, still the First World War happened. In spite of the catastrophe of the First World War, we moved to the Second World War. And since we've been fighting all sorts of wars. It's the human condition, good and evil. I and every member of my family and the company of friends that I keep, I want to be on the side of good, not evil. If you want to fight me, I will ask you not to try. I will beg you. But if you insist, I will meet you an eye for an eye. And I can bet you by my creator that I will not be defeated. So let's be nice to one another. there's no problem that cannot be solved, except perhaps cancer. If you live a good life too, you may not have cancer. Whenever it used to be like this, until the military and the ethnic hegemonists took over and started bringing all sorts of characters into the Nigerian space. But it's okay. I thank you all. I thank you all.
Thank you. Dr. Chief Amos Akigba. At this junction, I'm going to just use 5 minutes. I wouldn't be doing all this. I wouldn't be thanking again because I want to leave the thanking to two people. I want to leave the thanking to Princess Moradeon, since she's kindly joined me today. Thank you all for always being here with me. And the final say is going to still go to Ambassador Awolowo Dosunmu. But let me say, having been a member of a political party for 36 odd years, I may look young, and been at the forefront of English politics for 16 years, what I've learned is what I'm relearning today. And that is, often there are misunderstandings amongst communities that one is seeking to represent. I remember when I first stood for election in 1990 in England, I was summoned by Asians to ask me questions. And I discovered amongst them that they had Pakistani, they had Gujarati, they had Hindu, they had that. You know, a great relationship is about two things. First, appreciating we have similarities. And secondly, we have to respect our differences. And that's often very difficult. Appreciating the similarities, but respecting our differences. It's been quite a privilege listening to people of, I think I've been confronted by a triangle. The voice of horrific disagreement with what's been happening over the years, what's happening now, and a resounding, loud noise for a change. What I have not been able to pick out of the triangle, I think three sides, I'm unable to see where one can call commonality. But having said that, what is the substantive issue remains the future of Yoruba nation and the future of Yoruba people. It's interesting that a GOB, Yoruba things are always in two. Otunre Osire, I see quite clearly that the Yoruba nation, represented by the Constitution of Western Region, presented today, if we agree that Western Region is Yoruba nation, and of course the people, and as far as the people are concerned, have 5 fingers, I dare say, we have more than 5 variations of the people, all wanting one thing. They want to return to Yoruba nation, otherwise known as Western Region, led by quite a number of people, but prominent out of that, of course, Papa Chief Obafemi Awolowo, and of course, our royal father, Oba Adesoji Aderemi. It's been quite illuminating to see that Yoruba nation is a constitution today. To me, I think it has disappeared. For one of the sessions I had, we were told quite clearly that the constitution in which Yoruba nation currently exists doesn't represent the aspirations of the people of Nigeria, nor does it offer a strategic direction to be responsive to the much desired future of a group of people that are so diverse, from the boundary of Oyo to the boundary of Jeba, to the boundary all the way Igbo land, because at the end of the day, one mustn't forget, having traveled widely, I've come across Igbo people who say they are Yorubas. And I want to say I've also traveled widely, and then venturing to the area called Brazil, going to Republic of Benin, and going all the way to, shall I go any further? In fact, the Ewe people, the Fon people, Aja people are Fon Ewe people, Aja. So you can see similarities. We need to recognize that it appears right now that Yoruba nation and Yoruba people are at loggerhead. Yoruba nation, Yoruba people at loggerhead. How do we achieve the coming together of the diverse Yoruba people? And of course, the Yoruba nation in the constitution that we understand offers Yoruba people no future, and that many agree needs to be tackled. I want to rest my case by saying the only focus that is required from my perspective, any recipe that any group of people may be going for, it must be to retrieve the constitution, to reinstate the constitution. Without the constitution, I'm afraid we don't have Yoruba people. I want to rest my case by thanking all those of you who I have inconvenienced, begged, dragged, tried all I could have done to make you see sense. And I say so, to make you see the need for us to come together, regardless of our differences. I know those who nearly pulled out for one reason or another. But if Western region is going to be handed back to us, Yoruba people, the warring, the disagreements, the criticisms, the lashing at each other, the conflicts based on misunderstanding. And I want to say, until you forgive yourselves, you have to forgive yourselves. Until you forgive yourselves, I don't see any way you can come together. For without forgiveness, the resolution of conflict cannot be effected. And there's, shall I say, collaboration, partnership, even to come together around the same table to understand that if you don't come together, the nation is lost. The people remain in bondage, and the people unavoidably will sink. And all the hard work of the people who fought for what is called the Western region would be disappointed. So, over to you, Princess, 5 minutes just to thank everybody. And the final say will go, of course, to our mama, Eshe Modupe Pupo.
Thank you so much, amazing Honorable Irelu. Lola Ayonri, the Conservative UK, and our admirable Erili Tuasha June of Udi Remo. Thank you so much, ma'am, for always being at the forefront of trying to preserve our culture, our traditions, and our identity as a people called Yoruba Nation. Eshun Agba Dalema. I also want to seize this opportunity on behalf of our platform, AGBA KONI NILE OODUA, which literally translates into our elders will never cease to exist in Oodua land. I'd love to say a massive thank you to our keynote speaker, Dr. Amos Akinwa, various other speakers. I can see Mr. Deyinka grandson, and every other person that has taken time out to join us and contribute to this very, very important discourse that's ongoing on our platform. Please look out. Every now and then, Irelu always puts together such powerful gatherings of thought leaders within the Yoruba nation so that we can have a way forward. And I'll wrap up by saying what I always share. My father, who was a prince, would always say that we must bring what our ancestors left for us, that is the knowledge of our ancestors, bring it to what we have acquired in the present times as experiences. Put that together, find a middle ground to chart a path ahead for ourselves and our children, lest we forget, lest our children never know. The future of the Yoruba nation is significantly important to each and every one of us because we are all indeed tied to this beautiful heritage. Thank you so much. I want to say a big thank you as well to my big sister, Yeye herself, the Yeye of Remo Kingdom, Her Excellency Ambassador Dr. Olatokunbo Aolo-Odosunmo, who has always answered us when we reach out to her, and she'll be wrapping up for us as our dear Irilu has said. God bless you all. We hope to see you again soon. Till same time, take care of yourselves and each other. Eshun Iriu.
Well, thank you very much, my dear Aburo,
Yes.
Princess. And a massive thank you to the convener of this gathering. I've sat here since I spoke for the last 3 hours, I think. And I've been wondering whether we have actually done justice to the topic that you chose for us today. I believe Dr. Akingba did a wonderful, wonderful job and did it with tact and diplomacy. I thank you very much, Dr. Akingba. You did not disappoint. I didn't expect any less. Let me just take something from what he said in his closing remarks and make an initial statement that in our quest for the Yoruba nation or for devolution of power, we should be very, very careful of going down the slippery slope of the Hitlerite ethos of a pure nation. I think that would be tragic in the extreme. That is one. I would like to follow with 2 Yoruba proverbs. The first one is Bọ́mọdé bá ṣe lè láṣọ tó, kò lè lákìísà tó àgbàlagbà. The second one is tí ọmọdé bá ṣubú, á wo wájú. Tí àgbà bá ṣubú, á wo ẹ̀yìn. The fact that we still have elderly people among us who can point us to those landmarks that worked in the past, I think we should consider ourselves very lucky. And when we look back, just as the princess said, we use the past to navigate into the future. That is really all it is. And when we talk about the strategies that were used, it's not that we're stuck in the past. It's not that we don't want to move forward. It's just that since we moved away from that past, it's been retrogression all the way, I'm afraid. That is just the honest truth. And so it is time to look back and try to pick those things that worked for them in the past. When we talk about a strategic alliance in Yoruba land, every individual is made of so many aspects. They have their spiritual aspect, their religion. They have their political leaning. They have allegiance to the traditional leadership. And then they have the intellectuals. They have the rich who can bankroll efforts. And then, of course, they have the rest of us who are the grassroots with our own yearnings and our own aspirations. Unless you get all of those together, it probably won't work. And they did in those days. That's what worked for them. I'm telling you as a matter of fact. And that's why at the beginning I said that those of us who probably don't know enough should have the patience and the calmness to try and learn from those who know, so that we can learn and we can use that to move forward. Because when we make certain claims, then we contradict ourselves, and that's not good. The point we're at in the Yoruba nation right now is almost as if we're under siege and we're facing a massive problem, massive conflict. But we're so divided, we're so antagonistic towards one another. And I wonder whether this is not just falling into the trap of the adversary. Why are we so easy to divide? Is this a question of divide and conquer? And the divisions are getting worse every day. We should look inwards and search ourselves. I have never seen an army going to battle and it is when they reach the battle, the war front, that they start a debate on what the weapons should be, what the strategies should be, and then there are divisions in the army. We want to go this way, they want to go that way. I think you don't have to be a rocket scientist, you don't have to be a genius to know what the outcome of such a conflict will be. So I just want to appeal to all of us that we should calm down, as that little boy said, and try and regroup. We absolutely need to regroup. And we have to understand something. Nigeria is a reality as of today. We can't escape that. It is a reality. It is structured in a way that we don't particularly approve of, and that we've been agitating for changes for very many years. But we also have to realize that those changes that we seek cannot be achieved alone. They can best be achieved in collaboration with others, which is why you have the Southern and Middle Belt Alliance and all of that. I suppose it is probably the reason why, I'm not a partisan politician at all, but the government of the day was formed through a coalition from the Southwest and the North. That is the truth. And we cannot escape that. We have to realize that we need to talk to people of like minds who also have their own challenges. There are some nations in Nigeria that are landlocked, and they are probably scared stiff of restructuring. So, when we talk about the 2014 conference, we had all of Nigeria there, and we had to, there were trade-offs. You have to have trade-offs, and you have to negotiate your way out of this. That is the way I look at it anyway. And that is the peaceful way out of all of this. Even if you talk about going out, that we're leaving, exactly how do you want to leave without negotiating or without war? And how prepared are we for that? So we have to be realistic. We have to understand that leaders have a responsibility to their followers, and the followers would probably follow thinking that the leaders have it all sewn up. My knowledge of the Yoruba nation, Yoruba people, is that when they decide to go to war, they have already decided on the weapons they're going to use. They have already decided on the theater where that war is going to take place. They are already satisfied and convinced that everything that is going to go into that war is going to favor them. That is my knowledge of Yoruba people. We don't move before we think. We think it all through before we move, so that victory can be ours. And I still think, personally, that negotiation, we have not exhausted negotiation. We have not. And therefore, I would appeal to everybody that we should, as I said, calm down, like that little boy said, and listen to one another and come together. It is not wishful thinking. We may be in different political parties. We may have different tendencies politically. We may have different ideas about how to reach our goal, but we have to have the same goal. A situation where some of the very important leaders who hold the levers of power appear not to identify with the wishes of the people is not ideal. So I'm just praying that these conversations will gradually get us to our destination. Ọlọ́run ní fi tiwa ṣe àpínlé ní Nàìjíríà. And the struggles that our past heroes, because they struggled, they suffered. Listening to Adeyinka grandson, I don't want to join issues with him, but I would have liked to ask him whether he thought Chief Awolowo was a liberal, because from his definition, he probably thinks Chief Awolowo was a liberal with everything, all the struggles that he did and all that he did for the Yoruba. No, I'm not going to answer. We're not going to discuss it. No, we're not going to discuss it. Chief Awolowo was the initiator of this entire struggle. And when he initiated free education in the Western region, he made sure that every child, no matter where they came from, benefited. I think that is a wise move. That is a sensible thing to do in Nigeria as presently constituted until we leave, until we get the constitution we want. And we can only do that when all hands are on deck. I thank you all exceptionally, and I pray for Irelu particularly and Heritage TV. All your efforts will not be in vain. the Lord will open our eyes very clearly to see the direction that we should take. The Lord will guide us to the destination that we wish for. And the Lord will preserve all of us to be part of that victory when it comes. Thank you all very much. God bless you.
Thank you all. Studio, over to you.
Thank you so much.
Everybody. Thank you very much indeed. Good night.
Thank you, everybody. A big thanks to our technical support, Mr. Adi Thomas and Heritage Television crew. Thank you indeed for joining us today. Please look out, as we always have these sessions from time to time. Have an amazing week ahead. And as we always say, Oodua Agbewa, ire o, ire ni tiwa lọ́jọ́ gbogbo.
Everybody in London, have you heard that Heritage Television has come up with something new? All your functions and celebrations can now be multi-camera live stream that was only reserved for the rich and famous. Having a function in London can be viewed clean and clear immediately from any part of the world. Trust Heritage TV to give you a better reach. Heritage Television also does photography that will make you the envy of all your friends and family. Heritage Television is the best. All your functions like birthdays, funerals, weddings, church anniversaries or harvest. Heritage Television is the master. We are in the heart of London with an ultra-modern equipped studio. You can call us on 020-800-46100 or email us info@heritagetv.co.uk or mobile 0734 1234 560. Heritage Television will do you proud.